If we keep going at the rate we're going, the world may possibly not be a great place for us to live in the future.
For me, I'm a mother, and I have a child. I worry about the next generation.
If you ask me as a father, the quality of life and the resources.
There will be a lot of fights and wars over small little things which is available on the earth.
Die Welt, wie sie mal war, glaube ich, wird es nicht mehr so geben.
2050, 9 billion people will be on the earth.
Es ist aber kein Platz, sich in der Stadt zu bewegen.
The trees that we cut, the air that we pollute.
The energy sources we have now, they're hurting our environment.
Wir leben in einer Wegwerfgesellschaft hier im Westen auf jeden Fall. Wir hauen einfach alles weg, ja?
Some people have everything and some really have nothing.
There are people who are hungry. Why?
The lakes don't get filled up. We don't get water regularly.
There will come a time when my children won't have water.
But how do we get out of that or get in it to fix it?
Companies are more focused onto their growth, but they're not really seeing what is a long-term solution, what is necessary for human beings.
You know, progress. We need to build more. We need to have, taller buildings.
We're not going to last if we continue on this premise that we can grow without limits.
The earth or the world, they are barren, but the barrens always have a limit.
Yep.
Dreckig. Gehen wir, das Kaffee trinken, ne? Jo. Ich habe mir eine neue Zeitung mitgebracht. Kann man kurz neu gucken?
Ist immer noch Kaffee.
Ja. Da sind die ersten Artikel für 150 Jahre drin. Und ob der Cracker wieder drin ist, oder? Ich bin mal gespannt, was sie machen da bei 150 Jahren. Ich habe nächstes Jahr 25-Jähriges. Das passt, ne? 150 Jahre, die erste Aktion. So können Sie mitmachen.
Where we're going nowadays as society, this isn't going to work anymore.
We are going to live in a world which is far more challenged than what we are living in right now.
The way we have done things can no longer continue, but there is not yet a new reality.
Immer mehr Menschen, immer mehr Verschmutzung, immer mehr Eingriffe in natürliche Abläufe.
We're running out of water. We don't have the safe and efficient energies that we need. And if we don't look at the thing as a whole, then we won't be able to solve the problems. We'll just keep optimizing the parts of the system, or not optimizing them.
The question is, are humans smart enough to get us out of this mess? Can we figure out a system or a civilization 2.0 that saves the bulk of humanity, preserves the things that make us good?
What needs to happen is that the people in the corporations need to start working more with the people outside of the corporations and making changes where they can.
Kann man nicht wirklich Innovation als das Kernthema unserer Industrie, unseres Unternehmens nutzen in einem ganz neuen und offenen Sinne?
Wenn man die Kreativität maximal einfangen will, dann brauchen Sie eigentlich so viele Kompetenzen wie möglich und so viel Diversity wie möglich. Verschiedene Erfahrungen, verschiedene Kompetenzen zusammenzubringen.
Mit anderen Partnern zusammenzugehen, um dann dort die zusätzliche Power, die man dann gewinnt, indem man sich zusammentut, zu nutzen, um dann Projekte auf einen ganz anderen Fokus voranzubringen.
And this is what actually the creator space is all about. Getting the people within BASF outside and meeting people who understand not just the numbers behind the environmental or social problems that we have, but also the real situation on the ground and what's happening. And the more these connections happen and the greater the understanding is, I think the easier it is to turn an insight that you have into an action.
Das menschliche Wissen eigentlich zusammenzubringen, die Kreativität auszulösen und zu sagen, können wir denn bessere Antworten auf solche Fragen und Herausforderungen der Zukunft finden, als wir es eigentlich als Unternehmen alleine könnten.
So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Elise Kissling. I'm in charge of the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity BASF 150. So we want to give you an overview of the program, about the celebration, about the co-creation, and a big part of that program will be to inspire. And we hope the countries will really use this platform to engage.
Ich glaube, dass unsere Mitarbeiter das alle auch im privaten Bereich spüren, dass sich einfach die Rahmenbedingungen geändert haben.
Wie schaffen wir oder kommen wir zu Lösungen? Und wir merken, wir können das nicht mehr alleine. Wir können das nicht alleine als Unternehmen, wir können das nicht alleine als Familie, wir können es nicht alleine in einer Schule, wir können es alleine nicht in Deutschland, wir können es auch nicht alleine in Europa. Das heißt, wir sind also gezwungen, anders zusammenzuarbeiten. Wir sind heute irgendwie Kick-off ein bisschen für dieses Projekt, Jubiläumsprojekt, das ja eigentlich erst kommuniziert wird im September oder dann auch wirklich in aller Breite erst im Dezember, aber wir haben so ein bisschen, wir sind der Auftakt.
The opening press conference is on December 4th. So that's the official start of the anniversary year celebration.
Ich will unbedingt irgendwie Teil davon sein, weil ich finde, das ist halt genau das, was das Unternehmen braucht. Ich komme ja aus der Innovationsecke und gar nicht aus dem Kommunikationsbereich. Und da habe ich gedacht, ja, wir brauchen irgendwie so einen Startschuss, um die BASF da in so dieses neue Thema reinzuführen, mehr auf die Außenwelt zu hören, mehr zu lernen. Von daher war ich da sofort begeistert von Anfang an.
Wir haben heute mit dem Online-Reporter, mit der Werkszeitung, mit Flyern etc. aufgerufen.
Inspire and build relationships with your customers, but also with your other stakeholders, your scientists, but also especially thought leaders and NGOs. Bring people together, inspire them, celebrate with them, but also work with them, collaborate with them on future solutions.
And all these hot topics will pay into our 3 anniversary themes, which are urban living, smart energy and food.
Collaborate and collectively create solutions for a sustainable future. Collaborate on these 3 themes, urban living.
Dass wir aber auch diesen Kulturwandel in Richtung noch offenerer Umgang, mehr Dialog, mehr Austausch, mehr Kreativität auch, ja, dass wir das mit vorantreiben können. Das ist für mich auch sinnvoll. Da stehe ich dahinter mit meiner Person, ja, und dann unterstütze ich das gerne. Das ist für mich ganz, ganz wichtig in der Arbeit.
It's about refining our understanding and also getting new insights around these challenges. But it's also about connecting with influencers, connecting with people we have not yet been working with, but who are.
Das ist die Richtung, in die wir uns entwickeln wollen, ja? Richtung Dialog, und das bedeutet Transparenz, das bedeutet Offenheit, das bedeutet Kritik anzunehmen, darauf zu reagieren, nicht immer Recht haben zu wollen und zu müssen.
And the aim of this co-creation, collaboration with our stakeholders is to generate new innovations, new ideas, to generate new insights.
Co-creation, to work on something together with partners. The overall message is we can't do it alone.
To actually support the cultural shift in our organization, to understand The openness is not something that is dangerous.
Dass es nicht mehr mit Top-Down-Entscheidungen funktioniert, sondern dass heute in Netzwerken ganz anders zusammengearbeitet wird. Das heißt, wir müssen auch diese Art von Zusammenarbeiten lernen.
So, how can we really amplify the message? How can we really engage many more people in the topics that we're discussing?
Was ich mir wirklich wünsche, ist, dass das Geburtstagsjahr mit der Co-Creation wirklich so einen Ruck durch die Organisation erzeugt und vielleicht auch nochmal ein neues Level von Energie erzeugt.
Die Frage ist nur, wie sehr schaffen wir es, dass sie aus ihrer, ich bin jetzt hier Mitarbeiter und deswegen muss ich jetzt vielleicht an dem Event teilnehmen, wegkommen und dem wirklich, aha, hier werde ich persönlich als Mensch angesprochen.
Weil es ist ganz klar bei diesem Projekt, wir allein hier werden das Ding nicht zum Erfolg führen. Wir brauchen alle. Ja.
This year will be earmarked in history of BASF, and maybe when you think 25 years ahead or 50 years ahead, our colleagues in the future will look back and say, wow, they really did a big thing there. They changed the culture of BASF. They turned this around. Reaching out to our stakeholders, creating a new dimension of dialogue, communication, and reaching out, having understanding, be part of this society and trying also to contribute to solve the problems of this world.
Wir machen sehr viel anders in dem Projekt, als BASF es gewohnt ist. Und meine größte Sorge ist, dass wir einfach die Organisation durch die Schnelligkeit, mit der wir das Ganze implementieren müssen, etwas überfordern und dass wir nachher irgendwelche, bürokratische Schritte oder Leute, die wir in die Einstimmung mit einbinden müssen, dass wir das gar nicht alles schaffen in der Kürze der Zeit.
When I first heard about it, I think I was pretty, I wouldn't say negative, but it was more skeptical. Yeah, I was pretty skeptical about how we actually make this happen.
Ein Unternehmen hat eine DNA, die DNA wächst über Jahrzehnte, die können Sie auch nicht mit dem Schalter irgendwie umlegen und umstellen. Es gibt ein paar Konstanten, die sind bei der BASF vielleicht wieder ein bisschen anders als bei anderen Unternehmen. Sie sind in Ludwigshafen nochmal wieder anders als in Mumbai oder in Florham Park oder in Shanghai, aber es gibt ein paar Grundkonstanten einer BASF und da können Sie nicht hinstellen und sagen, das machen wir jetzt mal alles ganz anders und wir ändern uns einfach mal, sondern das ist ein Prozess und in diesem Fall natürlich auch ein Prozess der zunehmenden Öffnung gegenüber der Welt.
In the new lab and everything going well? Okay.
We want to have a symbol for co-creation.
You haven't anything that you have visualized as the end point? I mean, it's kind of going on and something come together at the end. Is that how?
Well, at the end of the year, all of the co-creation teams can submit proposals, and the board will decide on landmark funding for the most interesting proposals. The idea, what the board promises, is that they would finance the best ones for the first 1 to 2 years until it's kind of ready to go in that direction. So, all new, all new.
A very warm welcome to this event and also to my colleagues, both from India and also from outside. So we are here on the verge of a very, very unique kind of an event. And I think this meeting is the first of its kind, and I've really no doubt that this collective mind will really come up with some very, very interesting concept that maybe in 5 or 10 years from now we can all look back and say this has been a great contribution that we are making to this country and to the society. So with that, I again want to welcome all of you and wish a great day and maybe 2, depending on how things go. Thank you.
And maybe you want to say you have to leave at 11, just so everybody knows.
No, I actually decided I will stay longer.
A little longer?
Yes, yeah. So I delegated my conference call to someone else.
Even better, even better. So we have our anniversary this year, and everybody would expect us just to throw a big party. But we thought maybe we can do a bit more than just throw a big party, because I think as a company, we need to think about what's ahead, and technology cycles are moving ever faster. I think that's one thing. And the societal challenges are getting ever bigger. So how do we understand those challenges as they move ahead? How do we connect to people, 7 billion people on the planet, and understand what the challenges are and bring them back into our labs to design solutions? So we thought maybe we can think about what innovation is going to look like in the 21st century this year. So that was the idea that we had about a year ago when we started working on this program, and then what happened from then, I think, was a kind of a long series of happy circumstances.
So you can imagine my excitement to have all of us here together, you know.
We have a variety of different programs that try out new innovation methods, where we as BASF work together with Save the Children to look at, in Mumbai, the challenge of water availability, water quality, and all the questions and challenges around water. Because water is not just the product. When we look at the challenge of water, we will discover several aspects that we're not aware of today. So the idea of empathic design is to be open for these questions, to not yet come up with a solution with a preconceived idea, but to go and discover together what are the challenges on the ground. What are the users, the target group, the people who live in different pockets in Mumbai thinking about water, what do they need? And what will they need in the future? What are their ideas? We go on site, observe what is happening, talk to people on the ground to really make sure that we address their perspective. This is a very open-minded but also open-ended approach, because we might come across challenges or ideas that we haven't seen and foreseen yet.
With the help of BASF expertise, we are planning to understand a very, very important issue, which is water. To begin with, we are focusing on Mumbai as a geography to provide clean drinking water to slums and people at large. Like all of us should have access to clean drinking water.
And it's not only the implementation, but also the long-term operation and maintenance by the community. So it's a total sustainable model, right from creation, developing capacities within the community and operation and maintenance.
But the energy you have to spend in there to make it sustainable, rather than just a one-off thing, everyone is aware, you go away, the awareness goes away again.
Because we can't just step in a certain area, bring some change and step out. I mean, it might go back to the original situation over a period of time. The communities really need to be very, very empowered and very sure and thorough with the solution given to them. They need to start using it on their own in a very independent manner. So everywhere the approach is to make sure that there's empowerment and there's advocacy. And without which, till the time we are not satisfied with that, we do not step out.
People take the water from the well to brush their teeth and drink it. And it has a huge fluoride content. So they all have strong teeth, but they all have osteoporosis at the age of 40. Yeah? And they know this. The moment you say pani, they go like, pani makes the knees hurt. Yeah? So awareness is there.
So it's a long time taking process. So it's not that overnight or within 1 year time of things everything will be changed, but our continuous process. It's tough, it's challenging, that's true.
And a lot of these, because we come from the bottom of the pyramid angle, yeah, a lot of these bottom pyramid things concentrate on developing some fancy small stuff that in the end is great, but 5 people buy it. So it's always a danger to pour the resources at the wrong end.
I think we are doing a co-creation project, where both of the organizations will be brainstorming, planning the roadmap. It's not like we are presenting a problem and a solution. And so it's going step by step all this next 6 months.
How can we really get people to commit to co-creation when the end result cannot be defined? And that was for me the biggest challenge.
Wenn wir bewusst Partner suchen, die anders sind als wir als BASF, dann heißt das auch, dass wir uns ein Stück weit auf diese Partner zubewegen müssen und umgekehrt genauso. Wir wählen die Partner aber bewusst aus, weil sie eben ganz anders funktionieren, ganz andere Zielvorstellungen haben.
Und das ist für den einen oder anderen vielleicht nicht so ganz einfach, weil er natürlich sagt, warum soll ich mit dem eigentlich reden? Ich weiß, dass der eine andere Meinung hat als ich, weil er ein Idiot aus meiner Sicht. Der hat doch keine Ahnung, der weiß gar nicht, wovon er redet. Ich bin hier der Experte. Und dann zu sagen, nee, es lohnt sich jetzt durchaus, mit denen zu sprechen. Wir können auch was lernen. Vielleicht können wir auch Überzeugungsarbeit leisten, aber vielleicht werden wir am Ende auch feststellen, dass die Wahrheit in der Mitte liegt und dass man was gemeinsam machen kann.
Und das braucht sehr viel Zeit und sehr viel Feingefühl, sich anzunähern. Und es braucht auch einen erklärten Willen auf beiden Seiten, diese Partnerschaft zum Erfolg zu führen. Und das geht nicht immer nur bergauf.
I mean, it has to be a sustainable topic.
We are probably one of the companies in the world that has the biggest material knowledge, material science know-how that is there. We know substances, we know all these things, but sometimes we don't know how to employ it or what to employ there.
We can take this existing expertise that we have in-house, that Save the Children has, some other experts will go through this process where ideas will clash because people come with different perspectives. We want to avoid that we already introduce ideas and solutions to the situation because thereby we interfere with the process. We cannot solve everything by ourselves and that's not the idea either. And the same for Save the Children and other partners that we pull in.
Wenn man sich den Co-Creation-Gedanken anschaut, dann sehen wir ja, wir haben sehr viele sehr kompetente Menschen aus verschiedenen Bereichen. Wir wissen aber auch, dass deren Lösungsvorschläge nicht ausreichen. Sonst hätten wir ja das ganze Thema und die ganze Diskussion nicht. Das heißt, auch wenn einzelne Institutionen oder Individuen der Meinung sind, sie hätten die Lösung parat, stellt sich ja dann die Frage, wenn die Lösung schon existiert, warum wir sie entweder nicht umgesetzt haben oder warum wir immer noch die Probleme sehen, die wir haben.
Over time, that momentum will increase, simply because when you have any rational analysis of what's at stake versus what's gained through delay, almost everybody loses through delay.
Top leaders in the business community are starting to recognize that this is something that we have to do if our businesses have to survive for a longer term. What I feel right now, more curiosity and of course a certain level of anxiousness because there is so much that needs to be done and there is so much that needs to happen and really also a bit anxious about making sure that this whole co-creation experience results in some productive conclusions, both for BASF and also for Mumbai. तो 207 में पानी का सिचुएशन क्या था और अभी क्या है उसके बारे में कुछ बताइए।
जब हम लोग तो फुटपाथ पर रहने वाले सिवड़ी फुटपाथ पे रहते थे। 2008 में हम लोगों को महात्मा गांधी पथ क्रांति योजना अंतर्गत बीएमसी ने शिफ्ट किया फुटपाथ के रहवासियों से, जहाँ से हमारे 7 बिल्डिंग के लोग आए यहाँ पर। लेकिन साफ़ करने के बाद बीएमसी का पानी आ सकता था उसमें, लेकिन वो ऊपर तक नहीं जा सकता था। उसमें मोटर, पाइपलाइन और जो वायरिंग सारे दिक्कत थी। लेकिन 15 दिन तक तो नीचे से ही हम लोगों ने पानी ऊपर लेकर गया 7 माले की बिल्डिंग तक। उसके बाद सीढ़ी से लिफ्ट का तो बहुत बुरा हाल था। लिफ्ट तो काफ़ी दिनों बाद बना, सालों बाद।
What we see here is a scaled model of the Shanghai location, and it's one of the bigger ones we have on our tour.
And what we see here is a summit. The summit is the biggest room-filling format we have on the tour. We have a stage over there, and we have this workshop groups, you see. At the end of the day, we take all this stuff here away, put it over there, for now. And we have a situation like this. We have enough chairs to put on, and we have another situation, for example.
Yeah.
Right. So we can have a very clean looking, or we can have a very, very much like a working atmosphere, looking cupboards, places, stuff you can see and take out and grab out. And all this is filled up with graphic.
Yeah, and then this becomes a big cafe for a day, and yeah.
Our country in the past years, we have a system. This system is running for many years. You want to change something, always difficult. Because you want to do some new thing in China, then you need to break some barriers. That's very difficult. There's a lot of barriers, a lot of uncertainty, a difficult point. It's not that you want to do this, then you can do. So it's quite challenging. I should say it's quite challenging and take time. You need to be patient. On the other side, you also need to be anxious. You also need to quit. In China, we want to feed the people, we need to plant, but a lot of land, they are not suitable for planting. Then you need a mulch film, a plastic film, to lay out in the field, to keep the water, keep the temperature, to let the plant grow, even in very tough conditions. But due to this film is very thin and cannot be collected well, so a lot of film residues left in soil, then cause a lot of pollution in soil. Because this pollution, it's not by one day, it's accumulated, it's very serious. Even some land, they cannot planting anymore. Because originally they are film, but later they become very small films, small pieces, then they are in the soil, they are mixing with the soil. Some even too small, you even cannot see it. But if the plant is inside a lot of plastic, then it cannot grow anything.
We're in Pingguan County in Shandong Province, about 800 kilometres to the northwest of Shanghai. We're in the field looking at the trial site for our EcoVio project.
这是这个循环经济协会啊，把BASF这个推荐到平原来啊，我感觉也非常符合咱平原的这个经济发展的这个现状和我们的思路。
咱们这个时候也是转型的期间嘛，也是比较需要这个，咱们把那些农村的那个秸秆废弃物啊都收集了，然后把它做成堆肥嘛。对。堆肥以后再能还田。
这是实现
还田以后就是零废弃了嘛？
零废弃
的话，农业
可
持续的话，一个比较大的一个
模式
方式。
对。
然后我们也希望这个方式在这边能够试验成功。
对。
试验成功了以后可以扩大到整个县，然后到整个市。
对。我感觉这个和巴斯夫的合作，对我们中国，包括对我们县来说，这是面临的一个比较大的机会。虽然在具体的项目合作和推行过程当中啊，有诸多的困难，关键是叫人们对这个循环经济发展的理念，叫上下群众和干部都共同认识到这一点，这才是最大的挑战。
您能具体一点吗？就说困难，比如说会有哪方面困难？就具体一点。
我感觉困难嘛，
挑战啊，就是
挑战，
比如说是要改变别人的习惯，
改变别人的习惯，改变别人的思想，叫他对这项工作认可，才能往前推行。
The next 150 years will see change like the world has never known.
To be relevant during that change means that you have to be a part of it. To be a part of it, you have to understand. And to understand, you have to take on projects like this, where you go in open both to the possibilities and open to mistakes that will hopefully build into solutions.
Hey, Masma.
Hi, Raman.
Hey,
Good morning. Welcome
Nice
to
see you.
Creator
Yeah.
Space.
Thank you.
Still under working. So let's go inside.
Okay. Yeah.
So connected. We have a Wi-Fi here, so people can come here, log on to Creator Space immediately and see, or maybe even tweet. Then let's go that side. I'll take you around to that space. The space is something which you can change. So after everything, they can change the setup for the next day. Because these workshop cases can then be rotated 90 degrees.
On the side.
Yeah, so what happens is what comes out from here becomes a table or a whiteboard.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that also, yeah.
So these are the 6 cases.
Okay. Yeah.
These are the chairs for the plenum area.
Yeah.
They're all imported from Germany.
Right now, we're in a coastal city. We're in Red Hook, Brooklyn, in New York City, on the water, on the Atlantic Ocean. Sea level is rising. Temperature patterns are rising. Volatility of storms is rising. Red Hook has a lot of challenges. And you know, Red Hook was flooded by Hurricane Sandy a couple years ago. And it changed a lot of our lives.
The vast majority of urban populations live in areas that are susceptible to rising sea levels and climate change. So one very important feature of future cities will be to adapt, to be resilient, to find new sources of energy, new sources of food, and new sources of habitation for those very larger populations.
All right, let's go get some pancakes. Okay? All right, let's go. Both hands. Morning. Let's stop by the flower store first, though. Oh, those are so beautiful. Those are gorgeous. Wow.
The thing is, like, once they get bigger, you can even snap a branch off and it'll have roots.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, they get really big and bushy, too.
Oh, perfect,
and
perfect.
And reseed.
Okay, they like lots of water, little water?
No, they're really easy.
Perfect.
Buoyantly beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, excellent. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
We moved here in '89, so it's the looking out for each other, which is in part based on living together over a course of time, seeing each other's families grow up, building relationships, and it's really unfortunate that many good, solid, young people from the neighborhood cannot afford to live here anymore.
Okay, hold hands, hold hands.
Red Hook is rebuilding now, and as Red Hook rebuilds, it's important that every measure take the longest possible view forward.
I feel that it's time that we rethink the way that we take care of people and neighborhoods.
I think that the city of the future has to address diversity. And what I think is most lacking in most visions is a real lack of diversity.
A very important issue is to make everyone feel at home here.
When in fact we had a mixed-use community historically, you had thousands of more residents and thousands of more jobs.
Quality of life
in those neighborhoods is going to be increasingly difficult, if not impossible, for the poor and working classes.
I'm very tired of the way that we just see gentrification happen over and over again.
Everywhere we're walking now, during the storm, the water would have been up to your chest. Okay, so here's some new houses being built that are meant to be flood-proof, that are being raised above the floodplain. So you can see this dotted line showing the level of where we expect the flood. But look at the problem here. The whole facade is garages. There'll be curb cuts here. It's terrible for a street to do that. I mean, yes, it's smart to raise the living area, but this shouldn't be a garage. It should be a store or an artist studio or something that you can move things out of when the flood comes along. I can't say that it's insulting to the neighborhood, but it hurts the neighborhood in a way that it won't be apparent until after they're built and you walk down the street and you say, God, this is the most boring street in the world, when we should be in the greatest street in the world, right around the corner here. There's a community garden, someone's son, beautiful. But will they stay gardens? Will they be turned into houses with garages for Ferraris? Well, we have to do something to keep these little oases every so often. If you can make it so that everybody who's in a neighborhood now has some tangible benefit from the neighborhood getting better, rather than the neighborhood getting better, creating a set of winners and losers, which creates a friction which prevents change, we've got to come up with a system that creates a set of winners and winners.
So allowing people to be citizens and to be engaged in the things that they take in, and the things that surround them, is crucial. It's a part of this kind of the change we need to make our planet a better place.
Reduk especially is a very salty, very real neighborhood, and I wanted to keep that.
So you can see the door is blue up to a certain level. This is the height that the federal government expects the next flood to get to.
But the next time it comes, if we're not ready for it, it's our fault. And there's probably not much we're going to be able to do.
What we don't understand is that climate change is speeding up. Our adaptations have to speed up too, right? Our protections, our changes have to speed up.
Climate change, overuse of water, soil erosion, injustice and hunger, and overfeeding. If you ask me, am I hopeful that we can transform that? The answer is I am bound to look at the trends, and all of the evidence points to the answer no. We're not going to do it. By the end of the century, most species on this planet will be extinct. They'll never be back, and we will have eaten our way into that problem, largely through the satisfaction of appetites that do no one any long-term good. That is the probable outcome.
Because you see, we are going to reach in 2050 around 9 billion people. And there are two ways to feed these people.
Wenn heute in China 15 Milliarden Hühnchen verzehrt werden und bis 2050 weltweit 50 Milliarden Hühnchen benötigt werden, um die Weltbevölkerung zu ernähren, dann stehen wir wirklich vor einer ernsten Fragestellung, wie bewerkstelligen wir das eigentlich? Ist es wirklich die Zukunft? Können wir im Westen weiter so konsumieren, wie wir es gewohnt sind? Und können wir erwarten, dass die Inder oder die Chinesen auf Konsumtion verzichten, nur damit es dann wieder aufgeht in der Welt?
There is a dangerous consensus being arrived at around the world. And that consensus is that we require an increase in food production by 2050 by 50, 60 or 100%, depending on who you're listening to. There are two problems with this paradigm. The first is that it's wrong, and the second is that it is the single biggest threat to the long-term food security of this planet.
This is very complicated for our Earth because we lose water, we waste land, we produce more gases, greenhouse gases.
The main way in which food production increases are being achieved right now is by extending the agricultural frontier into the world's remaining forests. We're doing what we have been doing for the last 12,000 years, ploughing into forests, into wetlands, into biodiverse habitats that are incredibly valuable as habitats for the many species that share this planet with us, but also essential for the health of the biosphere. We rely on forests.
Wir haben immer weniger Grundwasser zur Verfügung. Wir sehen, dass sehr viele Böden zerstört sind, dass durch die Überverwendung von Düngemitteln eben auch eine Versalzung der Böden stattfindet. Und Anfang des Jahres hat ja eine UN-Mitarbeiterin davon gesprochen, okay, wir haben jetzt noch 50 Ernten zu erwarten und dann gibt es im Prinzip keinen fruchtbaren Boden mehr, auf dem Landwirtschaft betrieben werden kann.
And all of these things are being disrupted by the extension of the agricultural frontier.
Mit dem Haber-Bosch-Verfahren 1913 zum Beispiel, der Ammoniaksynthese, haben wir zum ersten Mal es geschafft, statt 1,7 Milliarden, die damals auf der Welt waren an Menschen, jetzt 7 Milliarden Menschen überhaupt zu ernähren. Da ging es um Größe, um Skalierung, um Industrialisierung von Essen. Das hat aber gleichzeitig die Herausforderung mit sich gebracht, dass das Thema Qualität in den letzten Jahrzehnten deutlich zu kurz kam.
Im Prinzip sind die letzten 30 bis 40 Jahre verlorene Jahre für die Landwirtschaft gewesen, weil wir uns darauf konzentriert haben, Kalorien herzustellen. Und zwar mit den Mitteln, möglichst viel Input bringt viel Output.
Dass durch zum Beispiel den einseitigen Fokus auf Yield, also Ausbeute, die Nährstoffdichte massiv abgenommen hat in den letzten Jahren. Das heißt, Leute verhungern an nicht genügend Zink, nicht genügend Vitamin, Eisen und so weiter in der dritten Welt. Und das sind horrende Zahlen.
We already produce plenty of food to feed the 7 billion people on the planet, certainly the 9 billion people that will be on the planet by 2050.
If we take the whole planet, we have around 1/3 of the food that is lost, that is spoiled, lost or waste. 60% of this 30% is on production, post-harvest and transportation. The consumer is the last point of this big chain, very long chain that we have in the food system.
And we eat in rich countries vastly more than is good for ourselves or indeed for the planet. In particular, we eat more meat and dairy products than are good for ourselves or good for the planet.
Also 117 Millionen in den USA leiden an sogenannten Krankheitsbildern, die man verhindern könnte, wenn man etwas bessere Nahrung hätte. Ich glaube, da kann man einen positiven Einfluss drauf haben.
We need to give value to this food. Not only economic value, but cultural and social value to this food.
Und es wird auch Unternehmen zwingen, ethische Produkte, ja, also herzustellen, weil die Transparenz kommt so oder so. Das heißt, die heute ihr Portfolio darauf ausrichten, die richtigen Dinge zu tun, die fundiert sind und nicht nur Marketing-Gimmicks, werden die Gewinner von morgen sein.
We have to kind of remake everything. We have to reimagine the world. And on the one hand, that's terrifying because we have never done this before. And it might be that we can't. It might be that there are problems that we can't foresee that really will prevent us from doing it. On the other hand, it gives us the opportunity to ask of every aspect of our society, is this serving us? Is this the best we can do? Is this the smartest thing, the smartest approach to take? Is this the most beautiful? Is it the truest, right? And when we do that, we unlock possibility. When we reimagine and question, we unlock our creative potential.
The thing is, the problem only can be solved that all the parties, all the people from different backgrounds, from government, from stakeholders, from citizens, from NGOs, we are working together to the same way. Then this problem can be solved.
It was the first time we were doing this, yeah? We had never done this before. We had never actually got industry, academia, NGOs, various people together under one roof, working together. Will they come? Will they not?
Good morning. So the big day arrives, huh? Okay, good. So how is it looking for the summit? How many people? So just give me a feeler of how many people are definitely coming and how many people are definitely not coming.
It's more the fear of the unknown. And that's what really was what the sleepless nights were all about.
We try and address these mega problems of mega cities. We are in Mumbai today, a megapolis, and this shows you the symptoms of all the big problems we have in these big cities. Traffic, pollution, water issues, housing problems, poverty. Can BASF do something about it? Surely. Can we do this alone? No.
We have over here our cocoon lounge. Free your mind during the workshop sessions. People are always welcome to sit over here, have a coffee, have another drink. So.
What do you guys think about the topic of water? Is it the right topic?
Potable water is quite good in Mumbai, but very bad in other cities.
Right. Yeah. Sure, there's a risk. Probably a big risk, actually. Because if you try out something new, and it's the anniversary year, so you get one bite at the apple. You can't say if it doesn't work out in 2015, we try again in 2016, and then again in 2017, and improve and improve. You do it once, and either it doesn't work or it works.
I really hope that there is a lot of positive interaction, that we have the openness. And I think this openness, listening to each other, is an absolute essential part of the co-creation.
Dann kommt, glaube ich, auch ein anderes Verantwortungsbewusstsein zustande. Der eine hat es unmittelbar und hat das richtige Koordinatensystem, der andere wird vielleicht nochmal aufklären und sagt, das motiviert mich jetzt noch stärker, an einer bestimmten Lösung zu arbeiten, weil ich wirklich erkennen kann, was der Nutzen ist und warum das so wichtig ist.
Kindly take your seats. Those of you who are inside, may I request you to kindly keep your mobiles in silent mode.
This Creative Space Summit is something where all boundaries do not exist. So we should explore together technology, chemistry, infrastructure, and also look at the precious resource we have, the environment. So I think it's about connecting all these dots. How can we improve access to safe, affordable water? We need to engage passionate and motivated people in these areas. so that we are actually having the widest perspective to tackle this very important issue we have in front of us.
In 1 month, 1,000 liters of water goes down the drain.
It's about distributive justice. It is about water, that there's a major issue about equity.
हमें अपनी सोच बदल के करना है. जैसे कि मैं एक छोटी सी बात कहूंगी आप लोगों को. खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना, खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे, बता तेरी रजा क्या है.
54% of population of Mumbai, is actually, in the slum.
Looking at the water, the quality, the price, the access, equity, and I think
people are not aware about it, and we all understand the drawbacks of it. But the basic problem here, which we are facing, is how do we implement awareness?
No, I'm saying it. This is happening for the one level of the society. Now, if I have to bring it down,
This is what we are talking about, a particular class.
Currently, people who don't have access are the poor, and you create decentralized sources for them. They are the ones who are in need of public services the most. Okay, so perhaps one should look at decentralization as a way to address inequity.
Why do we not have equity? Why do we have infrastructural differences? Let's go to the why.
Now we have a reservoir localized in Pali Hill. So actually Pali Hill experiences zero water cut. By the time that line reaches my house, I am not getting 25% water cut. Effective water cut is 60% to me.
And you want everybody to have 24/7 water supply.
Transparency.
And you
Transparency.
Want, no,
there is no water supply.
Unless and until this comes as a norms, it has to become as a norm.
This is a thought, we don't have to agree. But he's saying is there will not be any voluntary change, so it has to be like
unless and until it comes as a law.
A norm. And
they use less than that, then the discount or rebate should be given.
But what he's saying is rewarding if you use less than
Yeah. This will solve this water issue.
Why do we have a mafia?
I mean, it's so broad that I cannot do anything with it.
Are you trying to say that in India, that is what you would like to understand? The different, for example, ministries. We have a different ministry.
So what I meant to say, I'm an engineer. I cannot really do something with that. So how can we be more specific? What is it? What is lacking? So I can think. You used the word accountability. Now that's a word I can work with.
So can we say how to make integrated water-centric development planning in a participatory way?
For you to be able to penetrate into the slums and give an individual connection, it becomes very tough because they are so cluttered and clustered and you cannot enter into it. So this is a very political reason.
So we are now looking at a week-long immersion wherein we have about 20 to 22 odd people who will be divided between 6 groups, and we have identified 6 locations out of the geographies that we researched.
On a bi-monthly basis, we have been visiting the households, and the kind of engagement, the level of engagement has been increasing since then.
Very nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks for being here.
So we are in this place in Mumbai called Chembur, where we would now be heading towards Chembur Colony and see how people are interacting with water supply over there in slums, as well as some of the societies, etc. over there. When you start engaging with them, they are quite open-minded in sharing all their day-to-day problems related to water supply, and they would openly tell you as in what is the exact situation that they are facing. So right now we are moving into one of the old buildings in Chembur Colony, and we are moving into a society where a lot of middle-class families actually stay in over here. And we'll see how do they use water supply, etc., and as compared to how these slum households actually use.
So 7 o'clock. Says 8:30.
8:30. Okay, so 1.5 hours you have water supply.
शाम को evening में 6 to 8:30.
Okay, so 2.5 hours in the evening and 1.5 hours in the morning through your water connection. So these are the bottles that you use. Do you use that during the day?
Wenn man zum Beispiel in Vierteln in Mumbai unterwegs ist, die nicht 24 Stunden am Tag Wasser haben oder auch keinen Wasserhahn in ihrem eigenen Haushalt, dann ist der Ersteindruck für jemanden wie mich, der von außerhalb kommt, ein bisschen schockierend.
they don't get water. So they go and fetch water from that tap.
Ich sage ein bisschen, weil man die Fakten ja eigentlich schon kennt, aber das Vor-Ort-Erleben, wo man auch Gerüche erlebt, wo man auch aus dem Augenwinkel noch andere Sachen mitbekommt, dieses Erleben ist etwas anderes. Und es ist eine Realität, in der ich nicht aufgewachsen bin. Aber aus diesem Erfahren, durch diesen Schock, sage ich mal, setzt sich ein Ideenprozess in Gang, der dann im Austausch mit anderen neue Lösungen entwickelt. Wie wird denn überhaupt mit Toiletten umgegangen? Was bedarf es bei den Toiletten, damit die Leute diese Toiletten auch nutzen? Wer nutzt die Toiletten eigentlich wie?
So even when they go, they have to fill up the bucket first, come here to the washroom to then flush.
Yeah.
वापरल्यानंतर मग आता ते घरी जाऊन परत आणावं लागतो. इथं तर
तसं कोण करत नाही.
आता तसं कोणी करत नाही. धुणारं येतं ते धुवून जातो.
In these public washrooms, all the waste is also going to this drainage, right?
Yeah,
I see the pipe there. Okay.
Und dieser Graben war voller Müll, also wirklich Verpackungsmüll, alles was im Haushalt so anfällt. Was dann dazu führt, dass das Abwasser nicht ordentlich abfließen kann und dass sich dort natürlich auch Keime, Tiere, Moskitos sammeln.
Is that waste that is coming from here, or is it coming from elsewhere or from upstream?
ते बाजून हां
तुमच्या पलीकडच्या बाजूला
पलीकडचं आणि ते इकडेच आहे ना सगळं माणूस हे सगळं इकडेच टाकतं हां त्या बाजूचं सगळं इकडे बोलून बोलून आम्ही थकला तो काय बोलतो माहिती आहे म्युन्सिपाल्टीचं नाला आहे आम्ही इकडेच टाकू.
In der Immersion haben sie auch die Chance, diesen Alltag selbst zu durchlaufen. Sie sich direkt vor Ort mit den Menschen auseinandersetzen, statt nur indirekt Marktstudien oder Marktinformationen aufzunehmen, die von anderen aufbereitet wurden.
This entire stretch of slums, they move about like for about 3 kilometers, and it houses about like 5,000 to 6,000 households. So a lot of these slums which you would see, they've converted from just being on the ground floor to like multi-story slums going up to like 1 or 2 floors. So that's how it is.
In many countries also corruption plays a huge role, or interests and needs of specific groups that aren't aligned with interests and needs of other groups. So I don't think it's just a question of getting the numbers right, but I think it's a question of really looking in detail at each of the systems and understanding how the thing works together and how you can align the different parts of the system to create value. But not just value for the business, but also value for people, because actually why are companies there, or why should companies be there? They should actually be there to make our lives better and to make us happier, I think.
Die allererste Erwartung ist in der Regel, dass BASF diese Partnerschaft zwar erklärt, diese gemeinsame Kooperation und auch das Ziel, Innovationen zu schaffen, dann aber mit dem Interesse dahinter steht, möglichst kommerziellen Mehrwert und auch nur für die BASF herauszuholen. Das ist meistens verpackt in der Frage, warum macht BASF das? Aber mit einem Unterton, der schon impliziert, dass man eigentlich nicht daran glaubt, dass man tatsächlich lösungsorientiert arbeiten möchte.
What does the world's largest chemical company want to do with a bunch of artists and scientists in Brooklyn, with groups thinking about making and hacking and all kinds of projects that are about innovation and changing cities? The whole thing didn't seem to mix. And we were wondering, fine, we'll because we're very open, come on in, let's have a conversation. How could a conversation be bad?
We need to talk about facts, what we know, but also about assumptions we're making, because oftentimes fear and conflict arise from assumptions that we made about situation and we did not explore.
Und deswegen finde ich das auch so klasse, was wir machen, ist sich eigentlich im Co-Creation-Prozess ganz vorne schon zu öffnen. Und gar nicht erst diskutieren, wenn das Ding fertig ist, sondern eigentlich beim Entstehen und bei der Auswahl der richtigen Lösung, ein Problem anzugehen, eigentlich schon einen gewissen Konsens zu haben.
We didn't know where we were going to go with a kind of a creator's tour on this thing, but through the dialogue, through those conversations, we actually got to some really agreeable unique, if not radical, places.
Red Hook is a perfect miniature encapsulation of all the problems that cities are facing in the future.
So whether you believe in the climate change or not, it's a reality. I believe that we'll be seeing more and more frequent disasters, that folks will be challenged to make decisions on not only where they live, how they live, but understanding the building that they live in.
But also how a place changes socially when it grows. But what is a just way of growing? Economically, how will it find the money to grow? How will it generate wealth? And how will that wealth be shared by people who are here already as well as people coming? These are the great questions of cities.
I think that BASF wanting to do this is completely outside of the box. It's the idea that we can create together, imagine together, and perhaps find something that, gets us out of this loop of the same old business model. And we did come to some agreements. We were in alignment that people aren't consumers. People are citizens. We want people to be active and engaged with the materials and the stuff that makes up their everyday lives.
You just go into the room, you have very great minds there, beautiful minds, and you toss the problem out. And you're not worried about your ego, you're not worried about saying something stupid, about you don't care less if someone judges you. You throw the idea out, and with your peers and with the experts that were there from BASF, you saw what stuck.
You can merge ideas, perfectly fine to merge, or you can create a third idea or a fourth
because
idea.
I think people in Red Hook should have dreams, and I think they're often discouraged by who they are and not having enough opportunities, but I think they should dream of opportunities.
But I think that this could be a common area and a common ground for everybody, so to help connect the community together.
There's going to be a connected green roof that connects between the buildings, and I think that's a zip line, I'm not sure.
It's going to take a lot of public investment. You can't do things just by hard work. It takes money too. So those are my...
Und dann geht es darum, aufeinander aufzubauen. Das ist nämlich das Nächste. Nach dem Zuhören aufzubauen, konstruktiv auf dem Gesagten und nicht eigene Punkte nebeneinander stellen.
Und jeder, der mal ein Open Innovation Projekt gemacht hat, das erste ist schwierig, das zweite ist einfacher und dann merkt man halt, es ist wirklich ein Mehrwert. Und die Erfahrung muss man, glaube ich, auch sammeln als Individuum, als Unternehmen.
And how does the dialogue happen right now?
I think we're on a good path here. And I do like the fact that we've kept in this notion of a spectrum between what is sacrificed to absorb the impact of the shock versus what is strengthened to protect both itself and the surrounding community from the shock.
Wir haben so eine gewisse Vorstellung, was daraus entstehen könnte, aber man hat ja quasi einen Stein ins Wasser geworfen und dann zieht der Kreis und dann beobachtet man, wie weit das sich entwickeln wird. Und das spielt sich ja immer noch ab. Also wir haben auch jetzt noch nicht das Jahr abgeschlossen. Wir wissen auch noch nicht, wie wir es insgesamt beurteilen sollten. Aber es macht auch Spaß, das alles zu erleben und zu sehen. Aber ich hatte am Anfang keine feste Vorstellung, was da rauskommen würde. Nein. Das hat wirklich experimentellen Charakter.
It's hard to vote if you haven't defined.
We've got youth.
Well, I understand.
We've got Robin Hood. We've got waterfront.
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, kind of special projects, policy, citizen engagement.
This creator space has given us tools that, if further applied, will allow for a kind of bottom-up viral change to happen to communities. That, yes, it changes everything, but it's done for the right reasons from the right perspective. And actually come up with a specific pathway towards change. And at different levels, at the material level, at the building level, at the community level, at the infrastructure level, wrap those up with the built environment resilience, the social environment resilience, and the economic environment resilience. This is really strong stuff. I mean, governments can't even do this right. Universities can't do this right.
Das ist doch eine sehr spannende Zeit. Also die Dinge fangen an, sich zu verbinden. Wir leben im Zeitalter einer Konnektivität, in der eben auch neue Dialogformen möglich sind. Was heute passiert, ist eine Renaissance des Urbanen in Rekombinationen städtischer Funktionen. Das heißt, Leben und Arbeiten rückt wieder näher aneinander. Kultur, Leben, Produktivität, Kreativität kann im kreativen Zeitalter neue Formen entwickeln. Aber die Idee, Teil eines größeren Ganzen zu sein und dass man eigentlich Business in Zukunft nicht gegen die Gesellschaft, sondern immer nur mit ihr machen kann, das ist ja eine der großen Durchbruchsideen. Die ist auch entstanden in Kämpfen, auch in medialen Kämpfen, durch Bürgerinitiativen, durch die Konflikte der 70er, 80er Jahre, an denen ich ja auch beteiligt war. Ja? Aber ich glaube, das hat durchaus Früchte getragen.
Wohnen, Bauen muss zukünftig mehr bezahlbar sein.
Und gemeinschaftliches Wohnen in vielleicht ganz neuen Formen. Ich habe noch keine Vorstellung.
Eine Transformation von Müll in Baustoffen hinkriegen, also sehr abstrakt.
Dass man vielleicht Häuser einfach aus Substanzen baut, die Energie erzeugen. Super.
When the ball got rolling, people got really excited. And I think the excitement has to do with the people that they're meeting, who are outside of BASF and outside of their normal area of daily business.
Wir haben eine Grundstruktur in Stahl, momentan. Teilweise gibt es Verkleidungen, vielleicht kann man mal nachher mal ein Fahrzeug sehen, was fertig ist, wie da hinten. Auch da hat man schon oft drüber nachgedacht, kann man da was anderes nehmen.
Wer weiß denn, was ein Extruder ist?
Es funktioniert, die Technologie im Winter, im Sommer, auch im Auto, nicht nur im Labor, sondern im Auto mindestens 100 Mal betankt.
Neue Anwendungen für Displaytechnologie.
Sicherheit, Rutschfestigkeit, auch ein großes Thema im Stadtbus.
Abgetönte Himmel, aber bloß nicht eingeengt, sondern...
Genau. Wir treten dann an.
Du machst hier dann deine Perle rein und verschweißt das Ganze. Das ist eine einwandfreie Sache.
Es ist einfach genial, man muss die Leute laufen lassen, man muss sie machen lassen und die finden zueinander.
Und da ist jetzt eine gewisse Sensibilität und Verständnis auch für den anderen entstanden.
Benefits, Rückgang Vandalismus, das heißt weniger Betriebskosten.
Damit gibt es ein Simulationsmodell, in dem sie ja schon macht.
Der Energieverbrauch der Klimaanlage gesenkt.
Dass wir diese kleinen Tanks sogar extra Tanks bauen.
Ein paar Fliegen mit einer Klappe.
Ja. Und man nimmt aus jedem Gespräch irgendwas mit, ja, und versucht das auch zu kombinieren. Das macht das auch aus.
Dass wir in so kurzer Zeit so viele neue Ideen kreieren konnten. Also das war wirklich überraschend.
Wo Vorteile, wo Probleme sein könnten.
Wo man vorher vielleicht gar nicht drauf gekommen wäre.
Also in meinem Kopf ist schon relativ konkret die Entwicklung ablaufen.
May and June, then we'll see the result, whether the yield is increased and the melons is more sweet. They already make a sign. We compare the BD mulch film with the normal PE films, and also we use compost made from the organic waste. They are both at the kitchen waste and also the green waste from the field. And these waste, after collected by the BD compostable bags, and it can be composted and afterwards can use for the agriculture.
The compost will improve the soil. The biodegradable mulch film will leave no residue in the soil. And we're hoping by June at harvest to prove that we've got improved yield, less disease, better fruit, better quality, and of course complete biodegradation of the EcoVio mulch film over time.
And now you can see the watermelon just planted in the middle of the March, and it will grow for more than 3 months.
Some has conventional mulch film, no compost. Some has conventional mulch film with compost. Some has EcoVio mulch film and compost made from the food waste collected in EcoVio bags. and side by side so we can look in 8 or 10 weeks' time.
Then after harvest, we will do a soil test again. Also do the test for the melons itself and everything. Then we get a full report about the results.
The soil in this particular trial zone will, from the initial measurements, improve in microorganic activity, the water retention, lack of weeds, the yield of the vegetables. All these things will gradually improve over time. So it's a great solution for the food waste. You put it back into the soil, and the mulch film is wonderful because it leaves no residue at the end. It completely biodegrades.
Seitdem Menschen sesshaft geworden sind, haben sich mit organischem Abfall beschäftigt. Weil das Erste, was man hatte, war organischer Abfall. Und dann natürlich, was macht man damit sinnvollerweise? Und das war Kompostieren. Und dementsprechend ist es eigentlich eine ganz alte Technik, die älteste Technik, die einfachste Technik. Das heißt auch für heute, dass eben auch in Regionen, wo es keine Infrastruktur gibt, das Erste, was man machen kann, ist Kompostieren. Ganz natürliches, normales Kreislaufsystem. Und vor 3.000, 4.000 Jahren wäre es auch keine Frage gewesen, dass man sowas macht, vermutlich.
而且巴斯夫这种产品非常符合我们县正在倡导的一个方向，这是对巴斯夫公司的一个这个认可，也注定了我们希望这个巴斯夫和平原县政府的合作肯定是走向成功，推向在中国能把这个合作的模式推广开来。
Major cities has these challenges to treat waste, especially organic waste, because due to the eating habit, we really generate a lot of organic waste, and now we landfill it, we incinerate it, but the solutions is very expensive and also not environmental friendly and not sustainable. Temporarily, you move this problem to another place, but you didn't solve it. Now really at time you need a solution really can long-term solve the problem.
And the question is, how can we create a system where every player in that chain, right up to the final consumer, is incentivized to treat all of those raw materials with care?
By speaking, it's very simple. Just using compost bag, collect the organic waste, and to speak, it's just like this. But to doing, it's connected several industry, or even connect different world from the cities to the plant, to the industry, and to the agriculture, and to the farmers. And finally, the plant can grow well, the crops can grow well. So it's a quite total solution. But the challenge is organic waste mostly generated in the cities, but the compost need to use in the countryside. So you have to link it. It's a very big challenge. I think not only for the industry, also for the government.
橙色组的小伙伴，请飞速的回到你们自己的空间，然后我们所有的人请去橙色组来进行一个参观。
过来，我们要近距离。所有人
都已经回来了。OK， 我们现在所有的人都基本上已经过来了。那么我们橙色小组准备好了没有？准备好了是吗 ？OK， 我们现在。
这里呢是一个模型，是关于我们整个食物链的来自于自然又回到自然的一个过程。首先，我们的食物都来自于大自然，从土壤里种出来以后， 运输到了这个菜场，然后到了我们的居民小区，经过我们居民的消费以后呢，它通过分类垃圾回到了这个垃圾桶里面，再用垃圾车运到了这个堆肥厂，由堆肥厂进行降解处理。
It is a big challenge to change or to implement what we want to do here. But members of the public, members of the government also recognise these challenges, and I think they can walk out of here tomorrow with some new ideas from the co-creation together.
You could see the camaraderie, you could see the teamwork, you could see the passion and the excitement in each of the team members.
你们刚才说有一个激励的机制，你们会考虑，比如说，像那个居民买他们的有机垃圾吗？
这实际上是一个从经济上来解决这个问题，因为小区居民如果说他们家庭堆肥出来的这个土，他们能够卖掉，那当然是对他们莫大的激励了。但这个说实话，从小区内部它无法实现这么一个经济链的循环，那需要我们社会，需要我们企业共同来构建这么一个经济的一个链条。
那从我们现在掌握的信息，当然带多的都是穿皮鞋的时候，对我是穿草鞋的，因为我经常在农村是吧？然后这一个有机肥的大量的使用，因为现在我们都看到一个政策了，就是这个。 化肥，国家现在产量上不能再增加1公斤了，就限制了，不能再增加产量产能上不能再增加1公斤的化肥生产了，所以讲有机肥的春天就来了啊。那所以讲我们这边就是我们我这个团队上就讲，优质堆肥，创绿色家园是吧？然后需要你我共同。
Wenn man sich die Frage stellt, wollen wir weiter so machen, wollen wir weiter mehr Polyethylen einfach in die Erde reinbringen, dann wird da keiner Ja sagen. Nur tatsächlich das Problem ist, dass das eben vielleicht den Profit heute einschränkt. Wir können aber zeigen, und das ist dann der Systemansatz, wenn wir genug Leute mit reinbringen in das ganze Spiel, dass es dann wirklich auch jetzt schon günstiger wird. Man muss eben nur eine Gesamtkostenrechnung machen.
Wenn Sie zum Beispiel mal anschauen, die GDP-Entwicklung in China in den letzten Jahren, 2009, 2010, da sprach man noch von 9% Wachstum des GDPs. Der Governmental Institution hat dann sich angeschaut, wie sind denn die umweltbezogenen Kosten dieses GDP-Wachstums und hat festgestellt, dass 3% von diesen 9% Umweltkosten sind. Deswegen hat China in dem 12. Fünfjahresplan das Nachhaltigkeitsthema positioniert, weil sie festgestellt haben, unser Wachstum war nicht nachhaltig, ja, sondern wir müssen diese Umweltkosten, das sind nämlich externalisierte Kosten, mit in die Gleichung einnehmen.
A system can't continuously grow. There's just no such thing as anything in nature, certainly not any corporation, that just grows and grows and grows. I mean, what kind of economic policy is that? We will grow and constantly get richer, create more and more jobs, use more and more resources, and then next quarter we will do even more. Eventually, the system feels taxed. It starts to collapse. It does start to break down. Something else happens.
We've had the current system now for quite some time, and there are a lot of really smart people thinking about what could be a system that could get us beyond the growth paradigm. Every economic indicator that we have is based on a growth paradigm.
They have to show those growths every quarter. It's their job. And if they don't grow the company, they get fired. So you can't blame the CEO. It's possibly the system you have to think about. We have to recognize there is a value in a relationship with nature that's not about dollars or money.
Würden Sie den Regenwald abholzen komplett, würde der als positive Funktion in GDP erscheinen. Und dann frage ich mich, ist das wirklich geeignet, um die richtigen Handlungsrahmen zu steuern? Fragezeichen, oder muss man GDP nochmal wirklich sich anschauen, was wird da eigentlich definiert?
We've got too many facts and not enough stories. We don't have a new story for our coming times about how things might work well. See, before, imagine they were sitting around at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. They weren't saying, we need to solve this, we need to solve that. They were saying, hey, this is exciting, let's get on with it. Let's see how it goes. It looks good to me. You know, there's steam power and these railways things, let's get going. But we don't really have a confidence about the future, about, which way we're going. It just seems to be, can you get on the right side of the rich and poor boundary? How can you save yourself by being in the rump that is left and not part of the middle class that's being hollowed out?
Und dann kommt natürlich die spannende Frage, die ist eigentlich noch viel, viel wichtiger. Wer nimmt eigentlich an dem Wachstum wirklich teil? Das ist die Frage reiche Länder, arme Länder. Aber es ist natürlich auch die Frage in den jeweiligen Ländern zwischen arm und reich. Also wer partizipiert eigentlich an dem Wachstum?
Und ich glaube, dass ein Shift stattgefunden hat seit den 50ern, wo durch die sehr starke Shareholder-Value-Orientierung an den Aktienmärkten der Fokus sehr stark auf Profit gelegt wurde, mehr und mehr, und die Wertschätzung von Arbeit ins Hintertreffen gekommen ist. Dass das GDP zum Beispiel in den USA sich stetig auf einer Steigerungskurve befindet, aber die Partizipation von Einkommen flach bleibt. Das heißt, wir haben ein sich öffnendes Gap zwischen beiden Kurven und das bedeutet, dass wir soziale Ungleichheit und Spannung dadurch fördern. Und für mich ist wirklich die Frage, wie schaffen wir ein Wirtschaftsmodell, wo Menschen auch partizipieren. Und deswegen halte ich das für absolut wichtig, alle drei Dimensionen, den Einfluss auf Umwelt, genauso wie auf Finanzen, wie auch auf die sozialen Aspekte mit in die Unternehmenssteuerung hineinzunehmen. Sowohl politisch als auch von den Aktienmärkten, als auch von den Finanzinstrumenten, die wir haben. Tun wir das nicht, kann es passieren, dass durch die Digitalisierung irgendwann bei Profitsteuerung alleine Industrie 4.0 in eine Richtung geht, wo der Mensch nicht mehr partizipiert.
Ich glaube, dass wir alle sehen und wissen, dass wir verhindern müssen, dass dieses System in einen Selbstzweck sich entwickelt, wo es dann tatsächlich nicht mehr so ist, dass die Wirtschaft da ist für die Menschen, sondern die Menschen für die Wirtschaft da sind. Also das ist für mich so ein Grundgedanke, den ich auch in einem Unternehmen wie der BASF sehr deutlich spüre.
And when you move around the Creator Space Tour, you actually see that this is a question that our external partners are asking themselves. And this is a question that BASF people are asking themselves. And the question doesn't start with, oh, growth is bad. The questions usually start by people asking, do we like a view of the world where it's all about consumption? Or if we want to solve the problems we're talking about, do we need to talk about citizenship?
We need to find models to say, no, it's no longer about the individual, it's about community. And the fundamental business models needs to be changed. That's the only dialogue that I'm hoping the UN will have and everybody will have, because unfortunately the dialogue is based on current business models.
And I would say that's more the problem, because I would like 5 billion people to join the middle, or to be in the middle class globally, and to live well. But of course, with a current system, it's just not going to work.
It's about a culture change, but the culture change has also got to lead to a business model change. So if only the culture changes and the business model doesn't change, we don't get there. Now you can change the business model, but like I said, business model doesn't change on its own. A company does not change a business. It's the people in the company who change the business model.
Kulturwandel passiert nicht über Nacht. Der dauert eine gewisse Zeit. Ich glaube, der geht auch immer evolutionär. Ist immer auch sehr gefährlich, wenn ein Unternehmen revolutionär was verändert. Ich glaube, evolutionär ist immer der sichere und der bessere Weg. Und im letzten Endlich müssen sie die Leute in der Überzeugung mitnehmen.
Governments have gotten worse, pollution has increased, and we haven't done enough. But to sit there and just say that it's all gone kaput and just throw up our hands and give up and hide in some cave someplace waiting for the end of the world is not proactive. We need to have positive models that think about change, that works, that makes sense for the economy on some level, but makes a greater sense for the Earth's metabolism.
Letztendlich ist das Zukunftsdenken ja ganz entscheidend für auch unsere Schöpferkraft. Wie können wir überhaupt, wenn wir nicht in der Lage sind, über Zukunft nachzudenken, können wir sie auch nicht kreieren. Die Zukunft beginnt jetzt, in diesem Moment, die ist schon da. Wir müssen sie nur wahrnehmen, ja, und verstärken. Und die Lösungen sind alle schon vorhanden. Wir brauchen nur einen neuen Blick auf die Welt. Und das ist letztendlich die philosophische Grundkonstante, die wir natürlich auch gegen einen letztendlich utopistischen Zukunftsbegriff setzen müssen, wo die Leute immer sagen, naja, gut, also in 50 Jahren wird es so oder so aussehen, ich weiß es nicht, es kann sein, vielleicht hat der recht, vielleicht hat der recht oder sowas. Und am Ende entscheidet dann immer die Angst. Ja.
Wir leben in Europa jetzt hier in einer relativ satten und auch gewisserweise selbstzufriedenen Gesellschaft, wo Veränderung eigentlich eher als Bedrohung wahrgenommen wird. Wenn Sie in die Schwellenländer kommen, ist das eine völlig andere Welt. Die Leute sind hungrig, sie wollen Wohlstand haben, sie wollen reisen, sie wollen Dinge haben, die wir heute als selbstverständlich annehmen. Und damit haben sie eine ganz andere gesellschaftliche Grundeinstellung, auch was das Risiko angeht.
Wovor ich ja warne, ist, die Angst nicht überhand nehmen zu lassen. Eine große Gefahr, einen Alarmismus habe ich auch. Ich glaube, dass Menschen in der Lage sind, sich aus lauter Angst und Hysterie selber ihr Grab zu schaufeln. Das ist die Gefahr. Die Welt hat eine Menge Selbstheilkräfte, Selbstorganisationskräfte, die wir wecken können, die wir verstärken können. Ja? Wenn wir uns aber von Angst nur leiten lassen, dann fahren wir uns selber gegen die Wand.
Wenn man Zustände heute, Bewertungssysteme heute einfach projiziert in die Zukunft, unterschätzt man, glaube ich, die Kreativität der Menschen, neue Lösungen zu entwickeln und sich auch zu ändern.
And once people start talking about citizenship, they start to like each other better, and they start to see a lot more potential. And then they start asking themselves small questions about what would we need to change in companies, what would we need to change in society to create a system that was more about community, about citizenship, and about doing things for each other to make each other happier.
After the water summit, we continued our discussion and we ended up with 127 ideas. And then we actually then culled it down to 6 ideas. So right now, today, we are discussing and I'm wondering what happens at the end of these 2 days to see what really comes out of it, you know.
Gehen wir nochmal in die Tiefe und schauen uns an, wie können wir diese Projektideen, die wir in Mumbai auch gefunden haben, wie können wir die jetzt wirklich zu Projekten weiterentwickeln, die die 3 Dimensionen der Nachhaltigkeit gleichwertig berücksichtigt.
It's all about integrated, holistic, big solutions. You know what I'm saying?
Good morning, I'm Jitendra Kapadia. Looking after the technical development activities in PM business unit. I will talk about Mumbai. In fact, the major problem with Mumbai in particular is the distribution of water.
I was also in the immersion and that was really striking about perception of quality. It's based on how it looks, it's colorful, yellow, or does it smell? Yeah, and they don't have any other means to test it.
Perception based on
When you go out and you talk with the people in the slums, in the lower middle classes, and you see how they're structured and what problems they have bringing water to people in their water tankers every day, then you can create a much deeper picture of what's going on.
Für mich persönlich ein ungeheuer intensives Erleben, auch die Zusammenarbeit mit Save the Children, aber auch die Art und Weise, wie dieses Fragenstellen unser Denken verändert hat.
The observations were sometimes completely different and perspectives were completely different, which therefore opened up each other to newer experiences, yeah, because you see the same thing through different glasses.
nobody checks the TDS or anything. They just let out in the ocean because they're so close to the ocean. They're just on the coast.
So it's also an environmental perception thing. So there's no awareness about it, and there's no political pressure on it.
And today's approach is just very, very short-sighted.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Cost of ownership.
Not every person in the slum gets access to tap water.
Where do they get the water from?
Especially women are the people who actually go and collect water. They have to really stand in a long line, and they carry as many of these little pots and pans and buckets that they can to fill up the water. They don't know whether the water will come or not, at what time it will come, and they're standing in the line for hours. So they're spending practically 4 to 5 hours in a day just collecting water. And those drums, sometimes I've also seen our BASF chemical drums being used for water storage.
We gave them the tools to think about a partnership model, and they did it. And they were really happy and they were really proud. Management came in and they hadn't been involved in the process, and we gave them the opportunity to discuss with the groups.
This is reality. These guys are waiting for water 4 hours a day, and you don't know actually at the end of the day what time it would come, at what pressure it would come, and how clean it would be. So, the solution?
We suggest a clean water solution from a decentralized storage and a treatment with a 24/7 water access. And then we are selling water drums, and actually easily rolled, and would already facilitate the heavy jobs of many women especially, and ensuring that there is a sterilized container, and then they are sealed. Our implementation suggestion would be a public-private partnership model, with BASF being one of the shareholders, the local water authority being the second one, and as a third one, a local NGO, which means feet on the ground, local trust by the local community.
We also would, of course, require research, and we're talking about which is the right technology that would fit in, the right price we should place it at, and of course the size of the new market for BASF, the right partner, and of course the seed money to start the pilot project. And with all this, we hope this would be a thing of the past. Thank you.
But when they got into the position of evaluating, then they started talking about typical phase gate investment criteria that you would need to actually get a big financing in order to be able to launch something.
Drums? How many drums will you operate when this is full-fledged?
For us, it's a start. So you have to start maybe to solve topics that are right now in the market or in the world.
These containers are scavenged and reused for water. So it's all about safety that we actually were working on. We chose the topic of water here. Actually, BASF does not have a very large portfolio in water. And that was something that we really suffered as a challenge when we talked to the business guys.
At this point, we're really talking about getting financing to experiment with something that is completely new. And these guys didn't really see that.
You could use any product in the world, any lining, any grout, any whatever. That's a product business in the first place.
What we are trying to do is not only at the product end.
Where do you think is the money? Is the money in the provision of the technology?
How to actually make money on the pure service part, given our cost structure within BASF?
Was nicht ganz trivial ist, weil wir leider ja auch das Drive-Programm haben. Sprich, wir wollen effizienter werden, müssen sparen. Da ist jetzt momentan auch ein Disconnect zwischen dem, was in den Unternehmensbereichen gelebt wird, und was wir jetzt hier im Rahmen der 150-Jahr-Feier zelebrieren.
And we'll look at some other businesses where this model has been provided, like the paper industry. It failed miserably because in the end there was not enough value sustainably in the service itself with our cost structures.
One aspect is recurring revenues from consumables that go into the system when operating it.
Or are there other solutions that are cheaper?
So we are talking about revenues coming through project management also.
Yeah. And then we make sure that our consumables are going into the system and we have a recurring revenue stream from that.
Maybe we're in a situation right now, we have concepts, we understand better and better what the problems are in the system. We have a lot of smart people who maybe could put the solutions together quite quickly, but the corporate paradigm or the business paradigm we have right now may not really allow for us to do it.
So it's basically, if I'm really simple thinking, a distributor on a bike.
After implementing the concept, if it's successful, then you go the next step.
And the trick is what exactly?
To bring it together with the education. So you have the opportunity, first of all, to be in direct interaction with the people. You really are in direct interaction to learn. You're really close to what is happening there, and then take it from there to the next level. So you're building a market at the heart of the problem.
Having this water, purified water, as a first basis concept, and then education and bringing the added value products to the end consumer.
On average, half of your customers lose and only half win. So how do you convince the other half?
The education program kicks in. We want to make. If we can raise the awareness level to get control, to get transparency, to get an opportunity to save water, we believe that could produce the push we need to bring our case forward.
Just one addition here, it's important to get a little involved because this will not be a straight selling of the product, it's also a lot of education and awareness which we need to do.
Great.
Sie haben es mitbekommen. Es ist nicht unsere Aufgabe, solche Community-Building-Prozesse zu betreiben. Das sehe ich anders. Es ist möglicherweise nicht unsere Aufgabe, aber es ist eine Chance.
You're talking of people getting exploited, people earning 2 to 5 euros per day and spending 40% of that just on getting clean drinking water.
We are talking about reliable and convenient access to water, not being forced to get up at 4 in the morning, not to know whether there will be water or not.
But I really feel, I think what we need to do is have sponsors at a high level. And Matthias, what I'm doing is also looking at you.
Und es hat sich dadurch gezeigt, wie notwendig das ganze BASF 150-Projekt ist, um genau an dieses Denken, Reden und Handeln heranzukommen, um diese Multidimensionalität von Erfolg, von geschäftlicher Entwicklung, von sozialer Entwicklung, diese Multidimensionalität sichtbar zu machen und sie auch in das eigene unternehmerische Handeln zu integrieren.
Das ist ein Prozess. Das Unternehmen wird an diesem Projekt, so wie es daran gelernt hat, sie zu entwickeln, wird es jetzt daran lernen, was brauchen wir, was ist notwendig, sie umzusetzen. Woran scheitern sie und so weiter. Und das wird ein Lernprozess sein.
Changing that market space means you need to collaborate with a nonprofit or work with the community in a completely new way. And you may not make a profit with that for a couple of years. So if we have a couple of these projects where we can really show how this works, then I think it'll be wonderful.
We will have to sit down together with the Indian team, with you guys, and say, okay, what does it mean now? And we know that, of course, you have to present a convincing business case.
I was thinking about this exercise to co-create with societies, with different stakeholders, to make up a real sustainability case. What I've heard during the last 5 minutes is business, business, and business. Get the numbers right, highest business opportunities. So, what about sustainability and outreach to communities?
But I think if we don't see some mid to long-term business value in there, then we as BASF, we won't be able to win there anyway because the organization won't go with us and we won't have the products and we'll be in somebody else's market.
And that's, of course, where some of you guys come in to also remind us business people, this is not only about making high profits, but it's about the positive impact on society and environment as well. So I think it's a fair challenge. My challenge back is, okay, I understand this, but at the end of the day, I need to make some money with it. Yeah? And I think you can combine it. I have no doubt that At the end of the day, we are combining all these aspects into something very attractive.
People are beginning to say, how can we transition to a different model, and will we still be a business in that model? So there might be a lot of sacrificial activity that goes on.
We need somebody or some entity to be the first one to come forward and say, we're going to do it differently.
But at least a marker has been put in there. Pioneers, their role in a way is to end up face down in the mud with 3 spears in their back. But somebody has to go out first and do it.
Und viele auch in Geschäften, die gemeint haben, sie können das Geschäftsmodell der Vergangenheit jetzt einfach nach vorne weitermachen, fangen an, darüber nachzudenken und sagen, geht vielleicht nicht mehr so, ich muss es anders machen.
I think their power is in the crowd. If you have a critical mass of people who start to do things differently and slowly think in a different direction, then that's how you can change.
Wir haben Espresso.
Und aber die Kapseln sind ja anders als sonst.
Nee, die sind zum Wiederverwerten.
Die sind zum Wiederverwerten?
Ja.
100% kompostierbar.
Ja.
Und ich glaube, da entsteht gerade was. Ja. Ich nehme das wahr in vielen Unternehmen, wenn Sie sich anschauen, bei den DAX-Konzernen, viele fangen schon an, Triple Bottom Line zu denken.
And normally, when we talk about when you see a change, is when you hear different conversations. That's the first start that something is changing. And now, globally, it doesn't matter if I'm in China or Asia or if I'm in Europe or if I'm in US. Everywhere, it's a new conversation around meaning, purpose, and what do we bring to this world, basically.
Which means the purpose of a company is not just to make a profit for the shareholders. The purpose of a company is to add value for society. Profits are very important, but profits are just a stop on the way. Without profits, a company cannot add jobs, cannot make factories, cannot do innovation. All that is true. You make a profit to do all that stuff, but the bigger goal for a company is to create value for society.
Yeah, very warm welcome to our Creative Space event Ludwigshafen. We have arrived at the very last day of the last event of this very big journey. And I would say we have embarked on one of the largest experiments, if not the largest experience and experiment in the 150 years birthday. And I think you are really pioneers. You are pioneers because you have jumped into this opportunity, grabbed this new door in driving innovation within BASF. We have reached about 10,000 people directly with the events we had over the year in about 25 countries, and also 900 people basically joined the in-class trainings and webinars which we have offered.
Yeah, we did a lot, and it was really fun and it was really interesting, but are we really there yet as an organization? What can we learn from the people who did it? What's right about the approach? What can we improve? And also, what's going on in the organization? Could we potentially change in the organization to make our innovation pipeline more meaningful and more powerful?
There are some companies I've seen who have failure bonuses. So actually you have a certain amount where you are really pushed to fail, and it makes it part of the DNA that it's okay and we're gonna let that go because it's in the budget, we've officialized it, etc. So it's really building this culture of innovation.
Sie können sich vielleicht auch da nochmal, das finde ich auch ganz spannend. Wenn Sie hier die Bewegung Sie erzeugen jetzt über den Windstrom. Das ist zum Beispiel vielleicht schon interessant, weil wie viele U-Bahn-Schächte haben wir und welche Windbewegungen haben wir. Dann könnten wir doch eine gewisse Energiemenge hier abgreifen, um eine Beleuchtung zum Beispiel zu haben.
Chemie ist eine Grundlagenwissenschaft, die in all diese Themen, die die Menschheit heute bewegt, einzahlt. Chemie ist eine gestaltende Naturwissenschaft, die den fundamentalen Beitrag liefern muss, um die Probleme, die die Menschheit hat, zu lösen.
If big business say that we will be part of the solution, that's an enormous, tremendous power force on this planet for good, if they choose to do so.
Wir sind durch unser Produktportfolio durchgegangen und haben uns bei jedem einzelnen Produkt gefragt, würden wir das gerne unseren Kindern zu essen geben? Würden wir das guten Gewissens tun? Würden wir uns freuen darüber? Ist es ein tolles Produkt? Und wenn wir das mit Ja beantworten können, dann machen wir das. Und wenn wir uns nicht sicher sind, dann müssen wir uns ernsthaft fragen, was produzieren wir da eigentlich? Ja, das ist für mich der Yardstick. Und das hat was mit einer ethischen Qualität zu tun im Leadership.
Das 质量不错，这个当种西瓜、种辣椒啊，这样都用得上。
The smell is good too.
对呀，没有什么其他的味道，没有病虫害。怎么样，各位？
Perfect. Very happy with that.
I think we have changed the culture. I think the people who are involved are thinking differently and they're planning differently and they're looking forward to putting the proposals together and continuing to work with the people. But this will only be sustainable if it continues in 2016 and 2017 and more people get involved.
Wir gucken uns jetzt auch als Vorstand die ganzen Projekte nochmal an. Die werden jetzt priorisiert. Wir haben für ganz, ganz viele Projekte, die aus dem Creator Space rausgekommen sind, Unternehmensbereiche, die bereits gesagt haben, das will ich jetzt auch wirklich weiterverfolgen, da will ich was draus machen, das ist sehr gut. Und dann haben wir noch mal ein paar Themen, die sind so komplex und vielleicht auch so langfristig angelegt, dass wir uns als Vorstand gesagt haben, da schauen wir jetzt noch mal insgesamt drauf, was machen wir im März und legen dann fest, wie wir da weitermachen wollen. Und da geht es dann um Geld letztendlich. Also wir müssen dann auch sagen, was will man da jetzt eigentlich machen und was soll dann erreicht werden. Und darauf freue ich mich eigentlich. Die Diskussion wird bestimmt ganz interessant.
Und wie kriegen wir es dann auch umgesetzt? Wie kriegen wir nicht nur ganz viele gute Ideen, sondern wie kriegen wir Ideen, die sich dann auch wirklich realisieren lassen mit dem Ziel Wachstum ja, aber Wachstum anders.
Hey, hey, hey. Papa,我来了。哦，人家有客人来呀。Now is the time that really we need to. You cannot escape. You need to live here, to redo things here, to improve from now on, to change your behavior. Then, probably, I still confident our future generation, my son's generation, they can have a better world than us. Then what they choose to do for their generation is their choice.
We're still human, right? That's why I say, hey, we're not ideal, but we have a opportunity to make a better choice next day.
How was this year for you?
A bit like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Very intense, that's for sure.
It's a funny feeling, yeah. It's something I'm elated. I'm also sad, yeah. So it's mixed feelings somehow.
Because so much has come out of creator space and all the co-creation activities. I think we've certainly learned a lot.
We sort of sometimes have blinkers on when we do business.
We fall back to our traditional business.
Exactly.
But the beauty is that so many people have caught a glimpse of that tin and of the content and will carry on pushing.
The thing is, how do you break these habits?
Well, I'm a bit more positive, optimistic about it. I think if we don't do it, then who will?
All these colleagues involved will continue with that thinking, and eventually, it's like an avalanche gaining speed. Eventually, BASF will move into the right direction.
We already have so much of potential. Can this sort of, change become much more bigger than what we're doing right now? This was just a start. And how do we create the spirit even further?
Karl Zuckmayer hat es mal ganz schön in einem ganz bösartigen Satz gesagt. Er hat gesagt, die Welt ist nicht gut, aber sie kann besser werden. Ja, und darin, also auch im ersten Satz, wenn Sie sagen, die Welt ist an sich nicht gut, Evolution ist natürlich immer die Auseinandersetzung mit dem Störenden, mit dem Irritierenden oder auch mit dem Gefährlichen.
We create chemistry for a sustainable future. Ich meine, wenn man sich sowas in seinen Unternehmenszweck reinschreibt, muss man auch bestimmte Bedingungen erfüllen.
You need to have a good behavior, and a good behavior can be passing to your young generation, and it can passing forward. Then the world become better. Yeah, in this way. Yeah.
Denn die Kompetenz, die Ideen, die Erfahrung, die jeder Einzelne mitbringt, das sind die Dinge, die wichtig sind, um gemeinsam neue Lösungen zu entwickeln. Es ist recht einfach, zu Hause zu sitzen und zu denken, man hätte das alles anders gemacht. Wenn man aber diesen Gedanken für sich behält, dann hat er keinen Mehrwert. Weder für einen selbst noch für die Gesellschaft.